Welcome and thanks again for joining us for another edition of Tark Talk here at TwinCities.com. And Fran, let's talk about the games last week. We saw some really good games. You happened to pick them all right to a T.
I did.
Let's start with the Saturday games. And of course, a great game. New Orleans has to travel to San Francisco to play the 49ers.
Let me tell you something that's interesting, and our Minnesota fans will understand this. Back in 1975, when we got beat by the Hail Mary pass, it was our best team. We were 12-2. We had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Get beat by a Hail Mary pass. Have the game under control all game. Cannot lose this game, and then they got away from us. I think it's a burden for the teams like Green Bay, and I wrote about it 3 or 4 weeks ago, is that they didn't have the fundamentals they needed. They didn't have the running game, the defense. They were 15-1. They had taken a week off. They had the tragedy of the death of the son of the offensive coordinator, and they were discombobulated. And I think the same thing happened with New Orleans. I mean, New Orleans, I thought going in, New Orleans might have had the best team going. However, I picked the 49ers because they put it all on the shoulders of Drew Brees. They don't run it well enough. They don't play defense well enough. You don't have all the stuff, and Drew Brees is great. But, I think it finally overloads, and it happened there. And with San Francisco, and I thought that was the best game. That was really a great game because Brees gets them a touchdown with 1.5 minutes left, and they go ahead by 3 points, and then they lose. But we saw the coming out of the young quarterback
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith for San Francisco, who's been booed, and he was the #1 pick of the draft, and nobody liked him. But this team, San Francisco, has great running backs, great offensive line. Defensive line is terrific, young pass rushers, linebackers. Secondary blew me away, the athleticism of the secondary. I think this team will beat the New York Giants, but that's another story. But I think this is a good team. They played great, well coached, very solid, and deserved to win, although it was a tight game. And the second game on Saturday was the
Denver
New England, and I picked New England to blow this thing out, and I love Tim Tebow, and you love Tim Tebow. I think it's been a great story, but at the end of the day, he cannot throw at the NFL level. He could throw at the college level, but not the NFL level. And this is a passing league now. You got to get there, and they took advantage of the weakness. Brady, on the other hand, he just came out and was Tom Brady, and it was interesting. I think Brady plays a little edge on us because here's a guy that's going to be in the first ballot Hall of Fame. Will go down as one of the great quarterbacks ever to live. And the whole week was about Tebow. On Saturday of the game, there was 2 articles in the front page article of the New York Times. Front page, not sports, front page. There was another article in the op-ed page on Tebow. Nobody talks about Brady. And he comes out and throws 5 touchdown passes in the first half, and it just showed that Tim Tebow is a great young man and role model, not a very good professional quarterback. Okay, let's go to Sunday's games.
We start off with Baltimore, going up against the Houston Texans.
I wasn't very impressed with Baltimore. I don't think Ray Lewis is one of the great, I think, leaders in the history of the National Football.
Without a doubt.
I mean, he's just unbelievable. Not what he was a few years ago. Still a good player. The Baltimore team is not as they don't just knock you down like the one that won the Super Bowl with Trenton Dilfer playing quarterback. They don't overpower you like that team did. And Houston's got a better team, but they've got a rookie quarterback playing against the myth of the Baltimore Colt the Baltimore Ravens defense, and it was too much for him. He just he threw 3 interceptions, bad interceptions, turns the ball over, and that was the difference in the game. If he doesn't do that, Houston wins. And so I think that I'm not really very impressed with the Baltimore team.
Okay, and then, of course, the yesterday evening game, we had, of course, the Giants that had some momentum coming in. You talked about that, going up against a really good Green Bay.
Well, as you know, I picked the Giants to win flat out.
Right.
And I just think it was too much burden on Aaron Rodgers for the whole year. I mean, he had 3 weeks off. Week before he got beat by Kansas City, had a bad day.
Right.
For him, he takes the week off of when they play the Detroit Lions, and his backup comes in and throws for 480 yards, 6 touchdowns, breaks every passing record there was.
Matt Flynn.
And then he has another week off before he plays the Giants. He was rusty. What do you have, 76 passer ratings opposed to 122.5? He missed a sure touchdown early in the game. But this team depends on him. Defense is not good. They don't run it very well, and they depend on him to do everything. He's the leading rusher again. That's not right. And the Giants took advantage of all that, and Green Bay went home. And as you know, and as you people know, I wrote about that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. That Green Bay was flawed. They had weaknesses, and they showed up, and they're sitting home this weekend.
Well, and I'd ask you what you think about the games this week, but I know you're going to cover that in your piece for the St. Paul Pioneer Press. So, folks, make sure to pick up the St. Paul Pioneer Press to get Fran's take on all of the championship games this week. But thanks again for joining us right here for Tark Talk.